We finally got our first look at the big Maliwan Takedown endgame content that is coming to Borderlands 3 on November 21st. It looks very promising. Plus we got a shift code for 4 new Halloween hats that are actually different than the hats we discussed in a previous video. They're still cool though, very cool actually. And there's way more news on the future, like they touched on a level cap upgrade that is coming at one point and way more. Anyway, everything you need to know in this video, so let's get into it. Would be awesome if you could leave a like on the video, it really helps the channel out. And let's go. Let's start with that shift code that gets you 4 new Halloween hats, 1 per class. Slag got the least exciting one in my opinion. It's a Frankenstein inspired hat. I love the one from Sane though, the werewolf. I think this is my favorite, although the creepy clown from Moe's is really nice too. Amara got the Bone Dana. That is not that bad as well with the face mask. I'm totally digging that. So what you have to do to get these hats is very easy. Fill in the shift code that you see right here on the screen. Don't worry, I will also put it in the pinned comment and also leave a link to a tweet so you can easily copy it if you are on mobile. And then fill it in on the official Shift website after you are logged in. It's as easy as that, but you can also fill it in manually inside the game in the Shift tab of the social menu. And then when you successfully enter the code, you will see in the Shift history that you have claimed the items, and then they should appear in the change station for every class. And good to note is that this code expires at one point, so there's no event in the game right now that we of course saw for the last couple of weeks, but this shift code is basically the event, so you want to enter it before November 5th or otherwise you cannot claim these hats. It's very easily done, it takes a few seconds, so I would say totally do it. And then you can rock them inside the game, but no, they are not the hats and the skin that we actually briefly discussed in a previous Borderlands video that the Borderlands stream team got this weekend. They will be coming though still to the game and they will be free. We just don't know when. I thought it was obvious that this was going to be the bloody surprise. Well, it turned out that it was indeed a cosmetic reward, but another cosmetic reward. When we know more, when we know how to get these new hats and the skin, I will of course let you know here on the channel. Maybe they are drops from the new Maliwan Takedown endgame content. I will touch on that in a second. But first, some interesting info regarding the anniversary events. The increased anointed drops and the reduced Mayhem modifiers for the gun damage and the bullet reflection, for example, will stay in the game permanently. So they introduced these changes with the Mayhem on Twitch event, but that event is now over, while we can still enjoy the increased anointed drops and the reduced Mayhem modifiers. The extra XP though that we got on the Mayhem mode, it was 16%. Well, that is gone now, but the more drastic changes, like the increased anointed loot and the lower modifiers, are here to stay. Really awesome news. But that does mean that the events are now kind of over, like this spooky surprise event is not really an event, of course. But during the Borderlands show, it was noted that Gearbox looks at feedback from these events and are totally looking into maybe doing more of this. And if they are taking feedback, well, here it is. I would love this. I think it's awesome that every week there are slight changes to the game. Or maybe even bring back older events you already did, like the rare spawn hunts. That would be awesome. I really hope they do that. But it's great that they're at least looking at the possibility. Okay, now on to the big free content update. That again is coming on November 21st. So pretty soon. And Gearbox already announced some other cool additions that will come alongside this takedown. And now that we know the release date, we also know that that stuff is dropping on November 21st. I'll do a quick reminder of that in a second, but first let's focus on the new info on this endgame activity. So good to note is that it's a max level, so level 50, 4-player co-op activity. It unlocks after you finish one playthrough of the game, but it will be scaled to level 50 players and also 4 players. So right now the game scales to the amount of people that are in your team, but this will always be scaled to 4 players. And you can try and do it alone, but it will be very hard. It should be even hard for a group of 4 players. Good news is that there's matchmaking, so if you don't have a group of friends to play with, they can just search for other players online and then do this activity. It's meant to be replayable, like there seem to be no restrictions from the sound of it, so after you've completed it, you can just hop back in and try it again. It should be around the 30 to 45 minutes per run. That's what Gearbox is aiming for, so a little longer than the Proving Grounds. That's what they noted. There will be 3 bosses, 2 mini bosses from the sounds of it, and then 1 big boss at the end that I think we already got a glimpse of. Wotan the Invincible, a strong Maliwan behemoth that has a shield and also fires these rockets at you. The takedown is on a new map in a secret research lab, a highly guarded Maliwan facility, and we will be flying to that. And it will also include new enemies, like we saw the bosses already. But we will also encounter new regular enemies, like the riot troopers that have shields that absorb elemental damage that they can then send back to you. And we got the stealth troopers that, just like Flak, can turn invisible. They even noted during the Borderlands show that there will be more enemy variants when you do the takedown on the true Vault Hunter mode. And yes, there will be exclusive loot too that you can only find in this special raid-like encounter. Not sure if it's linked to the true Vault Hunter mode. I don't think it will be. They did not know that, but there are special legendary items that you can only get in the takedown. And we already got a glimpse at some of the new legendary weapons. The Auditing Executive Redistributor is an Hyperion SMG that has an M shot every 7 shots. This one has some pretty great rolls, a decent fire rate overall too, so might be the new sort of Nighthawking from the looks of it. By the way, during the Borderlands show, they touched on this very powerful SMG, and that it might be nerfed, so fingers crossed that that won't happen, but it is indeed a very strong gun in the game right now. We got a new torque shotgun, the Tix Boom, that consumes 2 ammo per shot, but actually has 18 bullets, so that's pretty nuts. The big thing about this takedown though is that it focuses on shields. Like, they want this to be the best place for the best shields in the game. The shields they showed are the Frozen Shoe that on slide lets you drain all shields and deal cryo damage. The capacity of these shields in particular are also pretty good. Like, this improved version 0.M has 10k and then an extra 25%. Stand and clap is the red text for this one. We also got the Recharge Burner that deals 16,730 damage on shield break and fill, like it instantly begins recharging when broken, and it has a cooldown of 20 seconds. That is pretty good indeed. Again, only obtainable in the Maliwan Takedown when it launches. They also mentioned that there will be a new trophy and likely achievement on the Xbox. And there will also be exclusive hats and skins that we can earn. Maybe the ones that we again already touched on, or it could be other ones. And as I said before, now that we got the release date for this content update, we actually also know that the Mayhem level 4 should launch on this day too. And this should also include legendary loot that we can only get on Mayhem level 4 and just be an even harder challenge than Mayhem 3. Although Mayhem 3 is not that hard at this point. Mayhem 4 wasn't mentioned on the Borderlands show, by the way, but I would imagine that you can do this takedown then on Mayhem 4 as well, because it launches on the same day. Also, the first bank space upgrade should drop on November 21st and increase the bank space capacity by more than 100%. The performance and stability improvements and the dedicated loot drops are also coming around that time, or maybe even before that. Interesting is that they touched on these dedicated loot drops too in the Borderlands show, saying that we should see the changes in the coming weeks, and that they're actually looking at buffing boss-specific legendaries that are present now too, because now mostly the world drops that can drop from like every encounter and the red chest and the loot things are very powerful. But the items we can get from one specific boss are not that much, like especially from the rare spawn bosses. The items are all pretty bad. So sounds like they want to look at those boss specific items and buff them. And of course, when the dedicated loot drops are here, that means that we can just go to one specific boss for a specific item that you are looking for, and then farm that boss over and over again to in the end have a guaranteed chance to get that item. Really great change for sure. Maybe we get that even before the Maliwan Takedown. They also touched briefly on a level cap upgrade that yes will be coming. I think this was already known actually, but now we learned that it will not be very soon. During the Borderlands show, it was many times stressed that the amount of content that is coming to the game is like the most aggressive post-launch plan that they ever had at Gearbox, but that they will wait with the level cap upgrade until it's right for people. My bet would be somewhere in early 2020, not this year anymore, but we really have to wait and see. Maybe around the launch of the first Season Pass DLC already, we will actually see this first paid DLC for the first time on November 18th, or at least in the week of November 18th, because that is when the new Borderlands show releases. Like Randy Pitchford will be there and unveiling this first big story DLC. I'm really excited about that for sure. Maybe it even launches in December, because now we got like a Borderlands show in September talking about the October update. Now in October they're talking about the November update, so maybe we get this story DLC already in December, alongside the Mercenary Day, the Christmas event that they already teased. So, just a ton of stuff is coming to the game. They're really supporting it well. They're giving away free stuff. There are no microtransactions in the game, at least right now. I totally expect them to add them later, but they will be only cosmetic. It's looking very good, and I'm really excited about the future. They're really doing a great job over there at Gearbox. I will, of course, keep you up to date here. Everything you need to know, so totally subscribe to stay up to date. There will be a giveaway for a Borderlands weapon in the next video. This was already packed, the shift code was already kind of sort of a giveaway, so wanted to focus on that, but in the next video you can totally look forward to it. Like this video to support channel, and totally check out my previous video on some legendary gear that was secretly nerfed, and there's one item that is now actually pretty good after that change. You can watch that video by clicking on the screen, or I will link to it at the end of our golden chest opening that Dennis and I always like to do at the end of a Borderlands 3 video. Dennis, I finally have it. We only need one more item.
And then we have everything from the event, right?
Yes, the Stalker, cryo damage, like a shotgun sniper. We want to go more in depth on these when we have all the items. You are still on the bad streak. But maybe we're looking for another item though.
Yeah.
An Atlas
I'm not gonna
assault
spoil what
rifle.
that is yet, but this wasn't it. Otherwise,
I just said it, but they still don't know which one it is. But yeah, so we have. Oh,
hey.
I now have a legendary though, an artifact. Melee lifesteal, pistol damage, not bad. Okay, this is actually not bad, although there are better ones. We will highlight another very cool artifact that we actually highlighted in one stream already. And we'll totally be making a video on. So keep it locked for that. Subscribe for everything Borderlands 3 if you haven't already. Let us know what you think of the new event and stuff that was just announced. For now, we will speak to you next time. Check out the previous video on some other legendary items that Gearbox nerfed. Although one is like way better now after that change. For now, we will speak to you next time, and goodbye.